Cedar Point is one of the best amusement parks across the entire globe. From classic record-breaking attractions like Magnum XL200 to the best of today's thrills on Maverick and Steel Vengeance, the park has a wide variety of incredible rides. Cedar Point is known to add some of the best record-breaking coasters. Magnum XL200 was the first hypercoaster, Millennium Force was the first Giga Coaster, Top Thrill Dragster was the first Stratocoaster, and they will find some of the weirdest records to break anytime they add a new ride. And that continues in 2025 when they will be opening Siren's Curse, the tallest, fastest, and longest tilt coaster in North America. Designed by Vekoma, depending on its opening, it could be the first new-gen Vekoma tilt coaster to open. This ride looks really fun, unique, and enjoyable with some really good-looking elements, and of course the tilt element. But did Cedar Point really deserve this coaster? Don't get me wrong, I'm really looking forward to riding this at Cedar Point next year, and I'm super excited that they're getting a new roller coaster, but in my opinion, there are some other parks that could have benefited more from this coaster. If the rumors that I've been hearing are true, this coaster had a pretty weird journey to Cedar Point. This is most likely the tilt coaster that Energylandia had planned on building, but later cancelled. After the project was cancelled for Energylandia, Vekoma had sold it off to Six Flags, where parts of the ride showed up at Six Flags Mexico. This would have been a great addition to the park, but due to some complications with getting the ride approved to be built, Six Flags Mexico was not able to find a way to get this attraction into the park. After that, the merged Six Flags company had a tilt coaster lying around that they could give to any one of their parks, and out of all of them, they chose Cedar Point, the park that is somewhat opening a new coaster next year, that being Top Thrill 2. That isn't the only reason Cedar Point should not have gotten this coaster, but it's one of the main reasons. It isn't too often that you see a park start to add coasters in back-to-back years, and some may not consider Top Thrill 2 to be a new coaster, but it was still a large investment for the park to reimagine the entire ride. The year before that was the addition of the boardwalk section of the park and Wild Mouse, a family spinning coaster. Whichever way you look at it, these are two major investments that the park spent money on in back-to-back years. They, unlike some other of the parks in the merged Six Flags chain, would have been fine with Top Thrill 2 and the boardwalk acting as one major investment and taking a break for a couple of years. However, they decided to add Siren's Curse in 2025, making it a third year of back-to-back coaster openings. Some people have said that they're trying to make up for Top Thrill 2, and I can see that, but at the same time, there are several parks that should have got this tilt coaster before Cedar Point. It's not like Cedar Point just gets this for free because the chain already bought it for Six Flags Mexico. They still have to spend money on the construction, and they have to take out a portion of the perimeter road and reroute it in order to fit this coaster in the plot of land. They're still going to be spending a sizable amount of money on this major thrill coaster. Besides the back-to-back investments, another reason this coaster should have not gone to Cedar Point is simply because it wasn't designed for the park. If the claims are true that this was originally for Energylandia and somewhat designed for Six Flags Mexico, then this coaster was not intended to be built at a park like Cedar Point. This isn't a bad thing, they can still build the coaster and have it operate as a normal roller coaster. But I imagine if Cedar Point had planned this coaster and got a custom layout designed for the park, they would take things like capacity, number of trains, size, the uniqueness of the layout, and much more into consideration. This would have helped make it a more quality addition for the park specifically, not just a basic coaster that can be given to your average park. More than just that, Cedar Point already has similar coasters to what Siren's Curse will be. Valraven is a dive coaster that achieves the exact same goal as a tilt coaster, but without having the tilt track. So while it may be a completely different visual, ultimately it's a very similar feeling. Beyond just the Valraven situation, Cedar Point already has a total of 4 coasters in the park with a 90-degree drop or steeper. There are many parks within the merged Six Flags chain that do not even have one coaster with a vertical or beyond vertical drop. There are also parks within the chain that only have 1 or 2 coasters with inversions, where Siren's Curse will be Cedar Point's 8th roller coaster with inversions. Siren's Curse will still stand out in the park, just not as much as it would at a park without any coasters featuring similar experiences to Siren's Curse. The coaster would provide a much greater benefit to parks like Valley Fair, Six Flags Darien Lake, Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, Carowinds, and a multitude of the smaller parks like Great Escape, Michigan's Adventure, and many more parks across the chain. It's still going to be a crowd favorite and a GP magnet at Cedar Point, but if they didn't just take the last minute option of Siren's Curse and sent that to another deserving park, they could have ordered a custom layout coaster that was made for Cedar Point and would give the park a much greater benefit, while Siren's Curse would be giving a much more deserving park a greater benefit than if it was at Cedar Point. Overall, I think this is a great coaster for Cedar Point. It's going to be a successful addition, especially with the qualities of a new gen Vekoma. But I just think that maybe if the chain thought it out some more, another park could be benefiting from this ride. I'm super excited to see this coaster open, and I can't wait to go ride this in 2025. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and thank you all for watching.